Well, listen, shout out. I mean, it's not just me. When we have a massive team, you guys are 40, we're 30. You know, we have a big team, 6 different countries, and we really come together, and everybody's an expert in different areas, right? So what you see in terms of the final product, there's a lot of heads there, right? So shout out to Louis, shout out to Straza, Grant, everybody out there. I think people put cryptocurrencies on a pedestal. Right?
Yeah, like Tyrone. I've been telling him stop doing that.
As they should.
Don't do that.
Well, he's bringing the cryptocurrencies off the pedestal and making it more approachable.
Sure.
Right? To people who have barriers to entry, whether it be RIAs or institutions, where they can't just go like a cowboy on some random crypto wallet, right? Or exchange, right? You can't do that. But for 99.9% of investors who don't have those hurdles, they're putting it on a pedestal because they might not understand or they think they don't understand. But at the end of the day, all these cryptocurrencies are just more stocks.
Yeah, but it's like stocks on bath salt with the way that they move.
The volatility is 4x.
For the record, there are plenty of stocks that are on bath salt and micro caps as well.
The pictures.
Number one. Number two, crypto trades 168 hours a week. The stock market trades on an annualized basis 31 and a half hours a week.
Bing.
So if you adjust for time, they're actually nowhere near as volatile as many of those bath salt stocks.
Stop.
You're not talk that talk. Talk that talk.
Michael's saying, wait.
Talk that talk.
Adjusting for time?
We deal in periods.
Time adjusted.
Oh my God.
It's the new metric.
All right, let's just move past
We
this.
deal with periods. Listen, if you want to include the sun and the moon and the stars into your analysis, you're welcome to. For us who deal in periods, we don't have to worry about the planets and the sun.
Wait, what?
Yeah, because if you're so obsessed over time, all you're doing is bringing in an element of where the Earth is based on the sun, which we don't have to worry about that. We can just look at the periods.
Did you take bath salts before you got here?
No, we're doing it before
You're
dinner.
saying
And
like
later.
9:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. are arbitrary.
Arbitrary numbers.
Those are 6.5 hours.
So pull those out.
That's 31 and a half hours a week, as opposed to 168 hours a week.
Okay.
So daily charts on crypto are really the equivalent of weekly charts.
I got it. I understand. I
It's
understand
5
what you're saying.
times
It's like time dilation. In the metaverse. I get it.
Okay.
Web3.
So I get that. Back up this no government intervention part, because that's about to be a whole lot of bullshit.
Well, you can walk that back.
I know. I'm pretty. Yeah. I mean, I'll totally walk that walk that back. There is some government intervention, and just because Chinese people can't be in cryptocurrencies, that's not my problem. Or yours, or Josh, right? It's not our problem. That's their problem.
But it could be the crypto market.
But why should I be concerned with what Chinese people are doing with their crypto? We have to be concerned with what we're doing with our crypto.
Fair.
Number one. Number two, theoretically, if an entire country, particularly the size of China, can no longer be in that, in theory, that means there's less demand. That is a bearish news item, you would think.
And it was.
And it went up.
And what happened?
But it did go down. And then
the market ripped.
Yeah, exactly.
So this goes back to the beginning of time. Any asset class, not just crypto. It could be in the stock market, it could be in the bond market. You'll get that knee-jerk reaction, and then the real move takes place. And the fact that bad news comes out and crypto rips, and Bitcoin has, an epic ripper. I mean, up 25, 30% or something like that in a few days.
But the Chinese news did send it dramatically lower, but it was for like 7 days. It was so right. It was over before it started.
That's the equivalent of a bear market.
Yeah, it fell 20%. It fell 20% in probably a day and a half.
Right.
Right, but it came back in. How long was the bear market? 14 days, if that.
Yeah, and more importantly, again, if for all my crypto hippies out there, especially looking at Bitcoin, the hash rate is right back where it was, right, and reaching all-time highs.
What does that mean? Explain that to us.
Just the strength of the network, right? Obviously, all those miners in China go offline. It hurt, right? The hash rate. Hash rate now is recovered, which is, again, you want to talk about something that's incredible. The
Why
Bitcoin
should we
blockchain.
Why should we care about hash rate? Why is that meaningful to people that own Bitcoin?
Well, which people? Those that I think it matters to.
All right, I'm a non-miner. I'm
right.
a Coinbase guy.
No one, you shouldn't care, because if you just care about the little b price, you shouldn't care.
Okay.
If you care about the big B blockchain technology and how that's changing the world, you absolutely care. I care about
everyone. You care about the blockchain.
Yes.
Right. You care about what it's going to do for the unbanked.
100%.
I would say 99% of crypto investors, probably more, care about the price.
100%.
I don't care at
disagree.
all. For the record, every cryptocurrency can go to zero, and I don't give a shit.
We know.
That's not my problem.
And there you have it.
I don't care at all.
But here's
Just to
the
be
beautiful
clear.
thing, though. Here's the beautiful thing.
care.
One, if they go to zero, the technology is not going anywhere. It still works, so those people still get help. So if it goes to zero, a lot of investors get hurt, But as far as being able to transfer value, any type of value in real time to somebody in the South Bronx to Nigeria, that can happen. So yeah, let it go to zero. The technology still will exist.
I think the bullish case is so simple. In my opinion, I don't know anything about the technology that anybody else. I know nothing about the technology, relatively speaking. What I do know is that demand for Bitcoin, we just talked about it at the top of the show, is just going mainstream. It is literally just starting. And I don't know how you can have all of these new investors come into an asset class that is a finite amount of supply, given the amount of minting that happens, which is on schedule, is finite, and the fact that nobody sells. The hodlers of Bitcoin, they never sell.
Here's the monkey wrench
So
in that.
hang on, let me just finish. Is it possible, and I want to be open-minded, is it possible that all of this institutional investor demand, all the RIAs start investing and the price goes down?
This video
Yes.
is what
How?
started it all.
Because if they start investing in 50 different protocols and not 2 or 3.
But they're not gonna start
No,
investing in 50.
I can tell you right
So
now.
fusion
It's
across-
only $2 trillion. That's
Exactly.
nothing.
There's
It's
no way.
tiny.
They're
Two
coming to
trillion. It's
Bitcoin.
tiny.
$2 trillion and zero might as well be the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But
when you look at capital markets
They're
overall,
coming to Bitcoin. That's where they're
100%.
starting.
I
So
agree with
even
you.
though we might think Bitcoin is
So I don't know if you can hear this or not. Well, I know that you should be able to hear it, but I'm not sure if you're listening or not. But this video is where it all started, and it stems from a couple of things, and I don't want to get too mystical about it, but there's a stock that I recently purchased for mom and dad's portfolio that they mention in this video, which is pretty interesting. And first and foremost, the 4 people who are in this particular video, it matters. So I'm not going to continue until I get some kind of confirmation that you can, or confirmation that you are present. All right, so first and foremost, why is this important? Well, Josh is the guy you'll recognize from CNBC, who's back right. And of course, he does the compound with the guy to his left. So on our right-hand side, the foreground, that's Michael Batnick. The guy to the back left is the crypto expert, and obviously JC, who you see me retweet often. And he's a technical guy, right? So he's a guy that does TA, like basically like Tom, the Australian guy. So now, the first general sense is that I had to have found and liked Josh, and have for many years. At the same time, I would have had to have fallen in love with the technical side of trading, which I always had more of a leaning towards that direction because fundamental analysis was never my style. And I can go walk behind me and get a book to verify that I actually purchased a book about technical analysis, and or about fundamental analysis rather, and it was just something that just didn't interest me, and that was a long time ago. So when I found JC, and around at the same time I found Tom, it was kind of a validation of the technical side of things, because I certainly knew what technical analysis was, but I didn't find anybody who I could really watch carefully and sort of like learn the art of it. Because it's not just learning technical analysis and seeing how they evaluate charts. There's really a romance to it, or an artistic sense to it, where there's feelings and emotion. And if you want to recognize a trend, there's things that you have to look deeply at. So you have kind of a confluence of many different things that come together in this particular video, and of most importance would be JC, who's in the front left, and he's the one who has kind of like ripped up everything from the bottom up to say things repeatedly on Twitter, such as the market doesn't matter, or the market doesn't care what you think. The market is going to trade and price action dictates. So these are things that you'll hear me talk about often, that price action dictates everything. So when people are looking at technical analysis, and in this photo is taken from the Compound and Friends, which aired tonight. It's a video which I'll play clips from in a second. So basically, anyhow, let's just jump to this. So when JC talks about price action basically dictating everything, he's also saying that, kind of like out of the other side of his mouth, that the market is rigged, and we all know it. You know, speaking to, from one trader to another, if the market's rigged, you can complain about it all you want, but it might be better served for you to stop complaining and just get on the right side of it, get on the wave. And therefore you don't really complain anymore that the market's rigged against you, because no one's stopping you from participating in the swelling of the wave and getting on your surfboard and riding it. So that's kind of an interesting thing, that when you hear somebody who's into TA as deeply as JC is and as successful as he is doing it, when he says something like that, it's kind of compelling, because in a way it eliminates the excuses and just says, get on board and use the technical analysis, and you can determine basically which direction to go and which tide to ride without excuses. Now, where JC crosses over into his own territory, as far as I'm concerned, and what has really smashed a lot of my preconceived notions, is that he has eliminated pretty much all fundamental analysis from his evaluations of stocks. So he's looking at multi-year charts with breakout patterns that can only exist, like, for example, a 6-year breakout pattern that could only mean one thing is bullish, and he's ignoring fundamentals altogether, which means that not only do you eliminate the variable of emotion, but if you go strictly to price action and no longer speak to fundamentals, then you basically have the cleanest evaluation of what a stock may potentially do. And he doesn't predict necessarily time frame, but he does predict trend and price action based on technical analysis. So he's taken away the emotion of it. He's taken away the fundamentals of it, and he's talking strictly to price action and how it can be interpreted in a chart over time. And a chart is really what I thought was an expression of emotion, of fear and greed, he's eliminated it and made charts be precisely none of that. And it's actually just supply demand. So that's what he's talking about here. So this is important for the background.
Digital gold that doesn't do anything. Ethereum's the internet, the future. That doesn't matter. Advisors are coming to Bitcoin first. They're not going to 50 other
100%.
protocols. They're going to Bitcoin.
100%. Well, I agree with you. Yeah, when the
that's fair.
high tower
That's
moves,
fair.
they're going to Bitcoin.
going to
They're not going to
Bitcoin.
Isn't
Cardano.
digital
or
gold
Solana.
like an insult to Bitcoin?
Yes.
Yes.
I wish people would stop.
Gold
that.
is way dumber.
I think it's an analog that we can
Well,
all
people
understand.
who own gold
There you
just
go.
look at their charts blindfolded.
There you go. And I talked to a lot of CIOs and they all of RIAs,
Cut his mic off.
and they say the same thing. Well,
He's dropping
Tyrone,
bombs on
you know,
all this.
is it digital gold? And I'm like, well,
It's not so much to this particular part, but it's the theme in how he talks, basically, where you hear this repetitive theme, which causes Batnick, the guy in the front right, to just absolutely go nuts, because Batnick is kind of playing devil's advocate. He doesn't want to subscribe to JC's absolutely, it's not cynical. It's not, I don't know. It's just void of emotion. And that's the theme that you grab from how JC talks, front left.
it's hard to say to a client, Mr. and Mrs. Client, we're going to rotate out of this internet money into this internet protocol here. Like, so for
all
an advisor,
internet money.
If you flip
Right,
the chart
but my
of gold,
point-
then
right.
it looks like.
But my point
What's
is,
your point?
if you frame it as gold to a client,
People get it.
They can look at, oh, gold, we're going out of this, and oh, this is like gold. Oh, okay. So it's kind of like, oh, it tastes like mayonnaise.
Can I throw one thing out?
Don't
Do
even
it.
start with your fruit takes.
I
Don't-
won't. I'm
Yeah,
done.
he has a taste thing where he tastes everything wrong. Do you know
He
what that-
doesn't
you ever
like
hear that?
tacos.
No, he's a
like,
super
I
taster.
can't be
Yes,
friends
I
with
am.
somebody.
No, he's a legitimate. He's a super taster.
100%.
That's why he's so skinny, because food's not good.
The people who eat.
And there's a critical undertone here is to watch. These are friends, so watch the way friends interact.
Tastes like soap.
Yes.
That's
That's
Tyrone.
it, yeah,
That's why
100%.
his taste buds are demented.
A lot of people. That's very common.
No, it's
It
for real.
is, absolutely.
So
Very
it's not
common.
his fault. It's
All
not
right,
his
so
fault.
one thing on the Bitcoin is gold thing.
Do it.
The one thing gold has on Bitcoin is longevity, and it really does. Like, it has a very, very long history of being meaningful to humankind. Take that away, not that you can, but strip that out. There's literally nothing gold does that Bitcoin
But
can't,
that's
and
a se-
Bitcoin can do a lot of things that gold can't.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, but that's like
Very
saying
true.
take LeBron off any team and they're not the team. You know,
Right.
Fine.
Yeah.
I fully acknowledging this thing in the Wall Street Journal about wealth management adopting Bitcoin. I'm just going to read this one part. Here's the pitch: investors can buy Bitcoin, Ether, and other cryptocurrencies through their broker. If cryptocurrencies fall by a certain amount, the accounts are set to automatically sell the digital coins, generating a taxable loss that can be used to offset other investment gains. The accounts then buy the coins back. There's no wash sale rule with coins.
That's gonna be over.
All right, so here's simulation reference number 1. How many people know about the wash sale loophole? Probably not many people. And if we are at a critical point right now where the Bitcoin bulls suggest that Bitcoin could be at the point where it ramps to, well, on its way to 100,000. So you can choose your favorite time frame. Some people have said by the end of this year. And if it's going to be by the end of this year, then you expect that at 55,000 sustained, where Bitcoin is residing right now, that there would be some movement. But now, why does the Bitcoin loophole come into play? Because with all this talk about regulation, the Bitcoin loophole with wash sale basically enables someone to, and they explain it here, but you can sell out of Bitcoin at your loss, take that loss on this year's taxes, then buy the Bitcoin immediately back so that you can then reduce your taxable income. So some noob, for example, who had quite a bit of money could now hedge their investment in Bitcoin and say, all right, this Bitcoin thing, I get it. I want to invest some money in it. But could I possibly have another added incentive to getting into Bitcoin now? Now, if I told you you could buy Bitcoin as a legit investment in hopes that it goes to, 2x, and if it should go down, you would be able to then use that tax loss against your gains on the year. So if you're at 18% by year end, tracking the S&P or what have you, those gains, you would then have built in 18% of gains, whatever your investment is, that you could X out or negate with any Bitcoin loss. So you can invest into Bitcoin and almost hedge your loss and say, well, if I lose money in Bitcoin, then I can use that to reduce my taxable income. Once you make the sale, the transaction is taxable and it would be at a loss. Because there's no wash sale, you can just buy back in to the Bitcoin asset at the same price and still write off that loss.
In January,
in a short
right?
time for around the same price
Yeah.
or even less.
Yes.
So you got a stock market up 18%. I could book some quick losses in Ethereum and offset my gain.
And what's funny is I didn't know that he was going to say 18%, but I guess great minds think alike.
Gains in stocks. Is that too easy? Can I really do that?
Really
You
can.
can't do it.
Yeah.
And that's what's so frustrating with
it's
this. I've been
property.
saying this for
Are
years
people doing this?
about no wash sale
yes,
rule.
yes.
They should. Yes, they are. Like
It's
it is-
legal.
Yes, I've been saying this for years. I don't know if you guys remember. There was a tweet.
And the idea of this and simulation is, well, there's a lot of people that I know that are just on the edge of getting into Bitcoin. And what amazes me is that the amount of people that I talk to that don't tell me, oh, I don't trust it, or it could be hacked. Like nobody's saying that anymore. Everybody's just sitting on the sidelines waiting to get in. And if they needed that little bit, and this is like the little bit, and this is the reminder, everybody's known about this, but it's kind of a nice reminder that the wealthy are probably getting in now, at this point. At this particular point in the life of Bitcoin, it's probably a point of no return, and therefore an opportunity to watch it actually go only up, potentially.
That I posted where I was like waiting for a client. I was an advisor then.
Oh, right, exactly. It's like, what? If you
So I'm just fast forwarding just so you can hear JC talk about the technical analysis and how he's just void of fundamental analysis and really any human emotion.
like the dollar, buy the dollar. If you hate,
Tyron.
you right?
I just want
The other day, and every other coin was down.
And I had mentioned there's no wash sale rule. It went nuts.
Good crypto news, like Gensler says he's not going to cancel it or whatever. To me, I just look at Coinbase because I'm a noob,
Yeah.
and they're all up roughly the same amount.
No, directionally they all move together.
Or okay, fine. That's
but
what I'm trying to say.
But they don't move the same amount.
Bitcoin was up like 10% the other day, and every other coin was down.
Okay.
Which if you would
For
have
how
told,
long though? Over what period of time though? An
that's
hour?
over a few days,
Okay.
right?
All right.
Which is the equivalent of weeks in the stock market.
So you're seeing more dispersion.
Wait, how about this?
It goes in ebbs and flows. It comes and goes.
Yeah.
Like sometimes correlations spike and sometimes they fall apart. Same thing with correlation between crypto and the stock market, right? Correlation spike and then it comes off and then it spikes. So, I don't think there's really anything consistent. If you want to buy Algorand, buy Algorand. If you want to buy,
Right. Don't worry about what the
if you
other
want to buy
cryptos are doing.
Square, buy Square. Don't. And that's something that I learned the hard way in intermarket analysis. Like it's like, well, if the dollar does this, then the S&P is going to do that, then gold's going to do this, then buy emerging markets. Like what? Right?
Hashtag macro.
Right.
Hashtag process.
Yeah, and it's just well, right, exactly. It's like what? If you like the dollar, buy the dollar. If you hate,
Tyron.
you right?
I just want to see what's going on. I was going to say, like, look at
There's
Solana.
side text going on?
Solana moves differently than and look
Straight
this,
down.
this is not
Straight down.
it's negative 47. I'm guessing
I'm super bullish, Solana.
it's negative 47 right now. I'm guessing that's
Straight
bad.
down.
John,
That's
give
bad.
us this. Give us this tweet. SEC will approve an XIV copycat. That's the volatility ETF that blew up the market.
Hang on. Give some respect. Who tweeted this?
At Hide Not Slide. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, I pulled this tweet.
Okay, go finish it.
He
then.
said SEC will approve an XIV copycat. XIV was the shit that blew up. An
That's
ETF
awesome.
that
Swept the whole market, right?
This is an ETF.
That's the one where the guy made the video crying.
It was awesome.
All right, so the fact that all of these people have had some kind of an impact, and Joey, I just wanted to actually capture this on recording. So I'm doing this for whoever's listening. I don't know if it's just you right now, but the simulation theory is just simply that, there's a lot of coincidences that happened. Are we really here living in a three-dimensional or a holographic simulation created by sentient human beings? That's hard for people to get their head around. But what I can wrap my head around is there's just as much likelihood that we live in a simulation that there is that we don't, because we don't really have evidence that there isn't. So ever since I've been paying close attention to simulation theory, which has been really probably over 5 years or so now, there's just a tremendous amount of coincidences. And this video tonight was one of those things where it culminated and brought together a lot of these separate little things. For example, the fact that I know who everybody in this room is, the fact that they're all friends, the fact that they're talking about several different things, the fact that JC is talking about what he's talking about, so on and so forth. So the second thing, and I'll stop numbering them, but that's a strange coincidence for me, is how we know that there's a correlation between interest rates and financials. And all I'm going to say is that there is a stock that is mentioned in here. This just aired tonight. And yet there's a stock in here that I purchased based on kind of the culmination of a lot of things that I've been thinking about the markets, and not the least of which is the fact that the vast majority of the NASDAQ has been in a drawdown since February. And that's something that JC's been talking about. So I've been kind of on that. And despite the fact that, I'll see my 401k go up, and, it's just tracking the S&P pretty much. Not even the NASDAQ. But the way JC breaks down these charts is just uncanny. And you just got to see it.
This is an ETF that
I wasn't in it. Investors forgot that.
It's like, don't you understand? All the rich people are in now. Now you can't.
So here's just a quick little thing about Bitcoin and how with regulation, everybody's in already. Everybody's in. So the entire group of large banks, which is going to come into play later, they're already in.
Everybody's in.
And U.S. Bancorp just announced that they're going to be doing it for clients. Everybody is here. UBS, Citibank, Morgan, Goldman, JP. They're all here.
Tyrone, are you guys in that right column?
We are under NDA with one of the logos up there that I can't say.
Everybody is here.
Just saying.
All right. It looks like the cover of a secondary offering.
Just saying.
Well, it's JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, ING.
So my point is, I feel like a lot of the rails, a lot of the groundwork is being built today. But the allocations are coming. I don't even think they've begun.
They haven't. It's not even. It's still very early for that institutional money and.
So
stuff
for the people
flowing.
that are like, aren't you worried about regulatory risks? Don't you understand? All the rich people are in now. Now you can't kill it.
Tudor Jones,
if you wanted to kill this 5 years ago, you still had a chance.
Now you can't leave.
There's no way. There's too many powerful interests. Are now in the game, and that's game over for this idea of it's going away.
Don't you think that these, of course, Bitcoin can fall 70, 80%, of course it can, but I feel like the battleship of these institutions has already turned. They're not going to be scared off by a dip, I don't think.
No.
And shouldn't things get less volatile the longer they're alive?
So I feel like
of course.
Well, there'll be new ones that are just as volatile. So you have something for everybody, I think.
Bitcoin might get boring. but the other ones
Right.
won't be.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, though. It's like people. I think it's 13 years old, right? It's anything 13. We were 13. We were
Shit.
volatile.
Mad
right?
volatile.
Like, yeah.
Bar
So,
mitzvah and volatile all at the same time. I had a mullet.
Let's talk
In
stocks.
1990, I was 13.
You should bring it
right,
back.
exactly.
I really
My God.
like legit had a mullet.
Let's
Could you
talk-
imagine if he brings back the mullet?
Yeah,
Go to stocks. Let's
You
go
know
to
what
stocks.
haircut I had? Like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Oh my God.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
Kevin Costner or
We'll find
Russell
a
Crowe?
picture. We'll
Yeah,
put it
go,
in the
go
YouTube.
to go to stocks
All
so
right,
I can
JC,
start
we're-
answering my Slack messages.
We're gonna do your charts here.
Let's go
Are
back
these
to
good charts or are these like
1980.
are these decent charts? What do you think? They good charts?
Listen, I only bring you guys the things that I think are the most interesting, and sometimes you think they're interesting, and sometimes you don't. So
All right, let's
you
do
know.
it. Let's
No,
do it.
always.
What are we looking at?
These are new 52-week lows in the S&P 500 relative to the CRB index. So a funny thing happened over the last decade is that many investors forgot that commodities were an asset class too. And if you've been in this business for longer than a decade, if you've only been in this business for a decade, you think it's just stocks and bonds. But if you've been in this business longer than that and you remember other cycles, there are 3 asset classes. In fact, the most hilarious part is that the way to remember that used to be BSC, the Bear Stearns ticker symbol, bonds, stocks, and commodities.
And crypto now.
I never
4
heard that
asset
before.
classes.
I remember BSC though.
Right, but
Shout out
that's
to
how I
crypto assets up
remembered
there,
the
too.
cycle, right? So new 52-week lows, and notice how commodities first started to outperform the S&P 500. What sparked that was when crude oil traded below zero.
Yeah.
So can
Negative $30.
Can you think of a better catalyst to spark a new commodities secular bull market than crude oil trading $30 below zero?
That's going to be one for the history books.
For sure.
We'll never forget the day crude traded negative.
It's incredible. Remember the old joke? Oh, I think they're supported zero. Well, you can't.
Maybe not.
You can't use that anymore. So CRB index, go to the next chart. Look, new 6-year highs, right? You know, what do we know about new 6-year highs? We know they're not characteristic of a downtrend. Crude oil making new 6-year highs, if you want to go down one more. So when you see commodities outperforming, when you see crude oil making new 6-year highs, there's a big word that you think of with a capital I.
Inflation.
And if there's inflation, you're probably going to get higher interest rates. So if you're going to the next slide,
Oh, you're telling a story.
kablam.
That's a good chart.
New highs in
The
the
banks,
10s.
the banks are going nuts right now.
Next chart.
I know.
We
I
buying
saw this
banks?
coming.
So if you have higher interest rates, who are the best 2 sectors?
Mr. Jones, the name of the company is Wells
So,
Fargo,
right.
ticker
Wait.
WFC.
What's EQRR?
Grab a pen.
Is
Let me
that
walk you through this idea.
Equities for rising rates. Did you make that or is that a
No, this is a real
it.
ETF.
I love it.
They got side convos.
I was about to pitch Wells
about to
Fargo.
pitch Wells
Super
Fargo.
bullish. No, okay. All right. So what are we looking at here? Equities for rising rates
Grab the
has its own
Republic.
ETF now.
Been an ETF.
So how about the inside joke there with Wells? So the inside baseball there is, Wells Fargo is garbage, and when Josh says he's going to pitch the Wells Fargo, it's obviously they're all ha 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 because it's shit.
For a while,
Okay.
as you can see in the chart, right, about 3-4 years.
What's inside of it?
So what's funny is that what's inside of it, when you look, well, it's theoretically stocks
Fear.
that tend to do well when interest rates are going higher, right? And when you look at it, half the stocks are either energy or financials.
Okay, that makes sense.
So that's why what we did is equally weighted energy and
The
financials,
same
and
thing.
notice how they look exactly the
Yeah,
same.
You're the best.
Good,
These
man.
are dope charts. You weren't lying.
So clearly this is a breakout in the making.
So commodities going higher, interest rates going higher. I think you got to own the financials. Go down one more.
All right, I'm gonna start buying.
These are
stocks
regional banks. Look at those 2018
KRN.
highs.
All
That's when
right.
the world peaked. That's when the bull market ended
When?
and a new bear market started in the early
18.
2018. Right?
That was the trade war.
Maybe.
Up everything cyclical.
I don't know what that is, but that's when stocks started
give it to
to
you.
fall over, throughout the world, right?
Right.
China, emerging markets,
He's dying.
stocks everywhere stopped going up, regional banks included, obviously.
So the Berkshire Hathaway tease. Here's your foreshadowing of the upcoming Berkshire Hathaway simulation rearing its head.
I don't know what a trade world is, but that's what happened.
He just said trade world.
Trade world.
This guy.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, keep going. Let's
Is that why stocks fell? 'Cause of
let's
a trade
stick-
world?
Let's stick to charts.
So then this is right up your alley.
Okay.
These are so if interest rates are going up and crypto's going up, why don't you own the banks with crypto exposure? Oh,
All right.
See?
so you get 2 for the price of
Who's
1.
that?
All right.
All right, so simulation. Here's another simulation. I just I just heard today. I won't reveal my source, but I just heard today buy Silvergate. That was this morning, and here it is, Silvergate.
What do these banks have to do with crypto?
What is it? Silvergate Capital?
Silvergate.
So this is what they have to do with crypto is above my pay grade. I'll let Tyrone. But every time you're like moving money between Binance to this one, those names come out on they're on the screen.
You know about Signature Bank and its role in crypto? I never heard of any of this.
It's very Signature and Silvergate actually they're involved with
Silvergate La Jolla. Shout out.
Yeah,
Shout out La Jolla.
Silvergate is for crypto companies that want an account because you couldn't go get an account somewhere. So
they're doing the
they're
banking for
helping that.
crypto companies.
Companies, yeah.
Okay. That chart looks sick.
And then go one more down, and you're looking at Silicon Valley Bank. That's the
Silicon
strongest
Valley's
one of
a-
all.
that's public?
This is the one.
Forever.
Silicon Valley
That's
Bank
like
is one.
that's almost like a NASDAQ proxy.
You're not going to find a bank stock that looks that strong.
No,
Maybe it has to
sick.
do with crypto. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I don't care. But that's the strongest one. So if it's above 665, you own it. It goes to
SIVB.
1,000.
Silicon Valley Bank back in the day would take stock certificates from companies as like payment for services. Like they were very, very visionary when it came to helping Silicon Valley companies get started.
They're
But
good.
how many banks do you know making new all-time relative highs?
They're good.
I can't.
Relative
I
to
can't,
what? What's this relative to the sector?
The S&P 500.
Okay.
I can't name one.
JP Morgan?
Actually, off the top of my head, JP Morgan is definitely not making
This thing-
new
this thing
all-time
looks-
relative highs.
This
So the
thing looks
S&P?
ridiculous.
JP Morgan
So we
relative
buy
highs.
financials.
no, you're right.
Got it.
Yeah, I can't
Wait,
think of another.
because the relative highs in financials were 2006,
7.
7. But that's why?
Um,
It's definitely way below that peak, obviously.
yeah, I mean,
obviously.
listen, it's on a case-by-case basis. My point is, how many bank
JP
stocks?
Morgan is way higher than where it was during the financial
No, but
crisis.
Fine, but
not
I'm
relative-
talking
not relative to the S&P.
highs. How
Oh,
many
no,
bank
no.
stocks
Gotcha.
can
Yeah.
you think
All right,
of
0.
that are? I mean, there might be more. I just can't think of any.
Right.
But this one is. So you
Maybe
you
the
talk
credit-
about
maybe the credit card companies.
yeah, and
Yeah.
those
Okay.
are in the tech
Not
sector.
even banks.
And not
Right,
even
right,
banks,
right.
right?
Okay.
That's why they're doing so well because they're not banks.
I gotta say, these are pretty charts.
You
You,
like
have
them?
the best charts.
Listen,
No Coinbase?
That means a lot coming from you.
You have the best charts in the
Coinbase is
world.
a bank.
Well, I brought charts that are going up, right?
Fair.
So,
Listen. Shout to Coinbase Ventures. Shout to Coinbase
it's
Ventures.
absolute garbage.
Next.
Ventures.
The stock price today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stock price today, and since
Shout
the
to
IPO,
the venture side,
literally,
though.
you got
We
all the
appreciate
VCs
y'all.
like dumping it to the unknown investors and just like
I never bought Coinbase or Robinhood. It's just not my type of stocks.
Robinhood's a
I
crypto
don't know.
company.
I don't know enough about it.
that was a good call on your part.
I
Stay
think
away from
Robinhood's
it.
cheap. Your thoughts?
It's cheap for a reason,
All right.
and I don't know the reasons,
20
but things that are cheap tend to get cheaper.
22 million accounts.
What else-
60%
what else
of
we
which
got?
trade crypto.
So let's keep
give me
going.
more.
Let's keep going, baby. So if financials are going up, 15% of that index is Berkshire Hathaway, baby.
Bang.
Wait, can I just ask you? That doesn't look potential. That's Coinbase, not potential.
We could look at something that has potential or something that is working.
Answer. What do you think?
Yeah, what doesn't have potential? Yeah, sure. It could go straight up from here. Absolutely. I hope it does.
Looks pretty good. Looks juicy.
Yeah.
Full
I'd rather be in
disclosure,
things
I
that
know,
are
you like,
already
you like
working.
things that are going up. I know.
Full disclosure, I'm
In a
long
bull
Berkshire.
As you
market?
should. As you should.
You
No,
long
there's- no,
Berkshire?
you're right, you're right, you're right.
All right.
So this is going.
15% of the financials is Berkshire Hathaway. So if you believe in the cyclical recovery, which I happen to, then you're obviously, if you know what's inside Berkshire Hathaway, you got a ton of railroads and industrials in there. So you're getting financials, you're getting industrials, you have that cyclical recovery, a well-defined risk reward. You only own it above 285, target at 430.
This dude
What
loves
else you
stocks. Loves his charts.
What else you want? Keep it going. Let's go. Next chart. So if Berkshire's going up, if financials are going up, JP Morgan and Bank of America can't be too far behind. Cyclicals peaked in May. So if you're buying cyclical stocks, industrials, materials, financials, energy,
Home builders.
you cannot be long if they are below their May highs. So you want to, as an investor, you're buying cyclical stocks,
That's May
value
highs.
stocks, you want to be long only above those May highs. And these are two perfect examples. Next
Bank of
chart.
America, JP Morgan both broke out this week.
So this is when people are like, oh, stocks only go up. It's like, well, the stock market peaked in February, and it is now October.
No, micro caps and small caps peaked in February.
And the value line, and biotech, and the IPO index, and
And
emerging
SPACs,
markets,
and
and
SPACs.
SPAC. Keep going if you want. The bottom line is, stocks peaked in February. Most stocks have gone straight down since then. Some stocks have done well. Most stocks have not, as we discussed on the show last time we were here.
Wrong.
And these are Exhibit A, right? Straight sideways. Next chart.
What's this? This is
NASDAQ,
this is-
NASDAQ Composite.
And this is all you need to know.
are we
People that
looking
are like, "Oh, is the stock market going to correct?" It's like, well, where the hell
it
have
already
you
did.
been?
Thank you.
JC, 50% of NASDAQ stocks had a 20% drawdown this year.
Ooh,
That's
volatile.
noteworthy.
It's volatile.
Half the stocks in the NASDAQ are down or have been down 20%.
And 20% of the Nasdaq's down 50%.
Ooh,
Yeah.
advisors,
So
fiduciary
if
We
you're
keep
waiting
talking
for
about
it-
bull market, but I don't even think most people are even aware of that unless there are people that are like own all these stocks in their account and they're looking at these drawdowns
No, here's what I've been
individually.
saying. In a bull market, most people pay attention to the index. Is that my phone? Sorry, that's not. That's me. In a bear market, people pay attention to their stocks.
That's a good point.
Like in a bull market, all of these stocks that are getting annihilated, Zillow, Zoom, Teladoc, nobody gives a shit.
Who's nobody?
The media, fine, I'll say whatever.
Who
Like
cares what the media thinks?
that's not my point, asshole. My
We're
point
talking
is
about investors.
my point is you know what's going on underneath the surface.
Aren't journalists not even allowed to trade? Why does it matter what they think?
My
This is
point is
amazing.
most people pay attention to the index in a bull market, and the bear market stocks they just don't know about.
Yeah.
The general person,
Unless,
not you.
unless
I
we're
guess.
talking about stocks that are extremely widely owned and commented upon.
right, like Apple. So,
Yeah.
so
I guarantee you, if
yeah.
Apple were in a 20% drawdown,
Everyone knows.
people would
Everyone
know.
knows.
Everyone
for
knows.
sure.
Yeah.
No
Right.
doubt. No
People
doubt.
don't care if Zillow is
Apple's,
down.
If Apple's in a 20% drawdown, the market probably is
Right,
too.
but all of these people that you're telling me that listen to the media don't matter. What moves markets is institutional money where
There it
this
is.
does matter. So if you don't matter as an investor because your portfolio is just so small that it can go to zero, it's not going to affect anything. But when you have $1 trillion in assets, you care.
Because you,
And
own
that's-
the
And
individual
that's what
stocks.
matters, right? That's where the alpha is. And those are the only people that matter in this whole
I think
scenario.
we're talking past each other.
What else is new?
Next chart, John.
Next chart.
All right. Oh, this is
yeah,
where it gets
gold.
good.
Listen,
baby.
you don't need to be a PhD or a CMT or a CFA to know that these lines are not going up.
Okay, this is silver versus
Why
the
does
S&P.
gold look like such
and
shit?
gold
'Cause
versus
nobody
the
wants
S&P.
When
those
all of the
rocks.
commodities are rising.
Because it's not a commodity, clearly. It's currency, and it's a shitty one at that.
That's a good point. Maybe that's what it is.
How much of the money, if you had to guess, nobody actually knows, how much of the money coming out of like GLD is going directly into Bitcoin?
Probably some, but it's not material enough because, you know, the gold market is what, 11 trillion, 12 trillion, something like that, and crypto all in is
It's
2.
Yep.
So is some of that happening? Sure. But is that the reason that gold doesn't go up? I think it's probably bigger than that. The bottom line is if you've been in
So I'm going to fast forward to this conclusion.
a 3-4 year base with energy making new highs and interest rates going up,
Yeah,
I
this is
mean,
meaty.
if you like getting paid while you're making money, this is the chart for
Play that?
There you
I don't,
go.
we don't have the licensing to play that. All right, Hess Midstream, HESM. What's going on with this chart?
I see a 7.2% dividend yield and a breakout from a 3-4 year base with energy making new highs and interest rates going up.
Yeah,
I
this is
mean,
meaty.
if you like getting paid while you're making money, this is the chart for
Who
you.
doesn't like that? All right, what else? What else we got?
Keep going, baby. So this you're gonna love this. This is very Josh Brown and Batnick. I love this. So of course, because
This is
ETF
good. This is good. I saw
ETF
this
companies are not in the business of helping investors. ETF companies are in the business of giving investors what they want, right? If there's demand for an oil ETF, they're gonna build one for you, right?
That's a jewel.
So of course the opposite is true, and if there's no demand for an ETF,
they shut 'em down.
They shut them down, and
definitely don't make new ones.
They have an uncanny ability to do that just when you need it most. And then obviously thermal coal futures went up 1,000% right after they delisted the coal
KOL is gone.
squadoosh.
Who was the last dollar in that thing? Somebody that forgot they had money in it. Somebody,
Exactly.
somebody who lost their
Mitch
password.
McConnell?
But look how great that ETF would have done if that was still around a year later. Right?
Although it did crash right after it got delisted, but then yeah.
Fine. And then up 1,000%.
Up 1,000%.
All right, now go to the next chart. They're about to delist the FRAC ETF. So go look at the list over there. ConocoPhillips,
That looks
EOG,
good.
Pioneer, 6-year relative
Why
highs.
are they
It looks
delisted?
great.
When are they delisting
Could
it?
they undo it?
Next Friday.
Could they undo that?
So you want to be long? You want to be long?
You
these
want to
names?
go to the next slide? Those are the names you want to keep an eye on.
These are the best names in the
Pioneer,
market.
Hess,
These are the best names in the
Occidental.
market.
I mean, you're not going to get an argument from me. So, you know, like I said, the ETF companies have an uncanny ability to do that. Go to the next 2 slides real quick. Actually, before we do that, let's look at Oxy. So how are we going to take advantage of this? Oxy's on that list on the FRAC ETF that they're about to delist. If Oxy's above 33, I think you flip the book. It goes to 46.
Flip the book.
Flip the book, baby. Let's go.
What year is it?
Flip the whole book into
Hold on, it gets.
What
But
year
wait,
is it?
Margin 2?
there's
Margin
more.
2?
Even better.
Calls?
They trade warrants.
Oh, word? Oxy warrants.
God.
22 strike, 2027 expiration.
Man, I love this.
So it's like a super leap.
How many warrants can I put you down for?
All right, there's a lot.
your
Mr.
wife.
and Mrs.
Yeah,
Anderson.
ask
There's a
your wife.
lot.
Come on.
Oh man.
Flip the book.
He's
It's the
talking
best thing
about
I've ever heard.
So what you see happening here is there's several, 3 friends at least, and I know the other guy, the crypto guy. I've never seen him before, but he's obviously connected to their friendship. So what you're seeing here and what you're witnessing in real time is how they're having a conversation, and either you can fit into this conversation and understand the nuance of everything that they're talking about and have all of the culminations of a lifetime of experience to understand the inside jokes and the laughter and what it all means, or you don't. And that would be what I would call the difference between, to use a different example, someone who knows crypto and someone who does not. And it will finish on a brief discussion about crypto, and just think of all the people who are experts in it.
Flip the book, Oxy, baby. And then part of the catalyst is the ETF companies are
I'm dead.
delisting the frack.
Oh,
And remember, so just a great, hilarious is when the ETF companies thought in their brilliance, there was plenty of demand for real estate in 2006. So let's give them an ETF. And then
Okay.
it lost 80%.
So
and
this is
did the-
iShares U.S. Home Construction. These are builders. Why aren't these stocks up more?
Well, this
No,
chart,
that's the bottom.
this
this-
chart ends in 08.
Oh, okay.
It
Gotcha.
just lost 80% off inception. And look at the next one, XHB did the exact same thing. Immediately after fund launch. So I'll take the other side of
Okay.
that. And now that they're delisting these ETFs, if you want another catalyst, if new highs weren't enough for you, right? And then Marathon looks great too. 14.5, that's the level. If we're above that, flip the book. It's going to 24.
How many
MRL.
books are we flipping here?
Yeah,
How
I
many
already
books you
flipped
got?
it. I already flipped the book
Flip it again.
into physical copper. I got to get liquid on my copper.
All right, and then this one's for Ty.
Let's go.
Looks good.
If this ratio between Bitcoin and the S&P 500 is above 7.0 and you don't have long exposure in crypto, you are being irresponsible to your clients and your family.
Yo, the book flipped
Flip
you.
the book. Flip the book.
So this is the chart of all charts. If
buying
you are
this.
not exposed to crypto, if this chart is above 7.0,
So this is a
we get
ratio-
it.
this is a-
Sometimes you
enough
flip the
Bitcoin.
book. Sometimes the book flips.
This is a
you.
ratio chart: Bitcoin versus S&P. Is
Bitcoin
this a meaningful relationship IRL,
No,
or
no.
just like it's an interesting chart?
Nope.
it bottomed at exactly where it peaked in 2018. So that's probably a coincidence.
Yes, I agree.
according
I
to
agree.
according to
I agree.
academics.
Big coincidence. One has nothing to do with the other.
All right.
Absolutely nothing.
Okay,
like it.
supply and demand would.
There's no supply and demand between Bitcoin and the S&P.
All right, we'll have
In
we'll have to
your
pick-
opinion,
We'll have to pick this part up later. You got any more charts?
yeah, go down that one. That's the last one.
Okay.
I mean,
Algo.
Got
Okay.
here.
they look exactly the same.
Oh,
They-
these are shit coins.
What are these? These are all protocols. Tyra,
Listen
what
to
are
this
these things?
conclusion. It's great.
You know all these.
So yeah, it's funny. Yeah, Avalanche. What you got there?
Oh, Avalanche has been ripping lately, right?
AVAX, baby.
It has.
Yeah.
Yep. Cosmos.
What's EGL
When
day?
does
That was
when
interesting
does
to pay the
Avalanche
carry.
report earnings?
And now why do you choose the tether? The tether pairing. Why do you do that?
Just for liquidity
Just for
purposes.
liquidity? Okay,
yeah.
makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Cosmos.
So very
Algorand.
simple.
Yeah,
You
these
you
are-
own them above the first half highs.
These are the altcoins.
if
Yeah.
they're above the first half highs, you
Pay
own
these
them.
no mind.
If they're not
Pay
above
these
the
no
first
mind.
half
No,
highs,
I don't care what you say, Tyrone.
I pay them no mind.
Why?
I mean, these are again. Now, here's the thing: if you trade, sure,
Right.
But if you're looking long term for meaningful projects, I don't know if you really want to pay attention to these, right? But if you're trading and
But relative
like,
strength.
listen to JC,
Relative
yeah,
strength.
yeah, relative
I
strength.
don't know what a project is, but if we're above the first half highs, you can own them.
There you go. Like my point is, what
It's that
is
simple.
Avalanche good for, right? Or
They can't
money.
even spell
Cosmos, maybe.
Avalanche.
Making money.
Exactly.
What is
Yeah,
this?
There you go.
Bitcoin USD. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you want to show us here?
46, that's the level. So if
46.
you're above 46, there's no reason not to own it.
Well,
Well, 100,000.
So you can hear my my air conditioning now probably quite loudly. So in culmination, if you were to find this video randomly on YouTube, that would be pretty miraculous. If you were to know one of the people in there and trust them, that would be pretty miraculous. If you were to know two of them and one of them has had a profound impact on your trading, that would be pretty remarkable. If you knew three of them, so on and so forth. If they were talking about Bitcoin in a way that you understood, if they were talking about other topics that you partly understand and partly do not understand, and then at one point this morning prior to this video, I had heard a reference to buy one of the banks that is linked to Bitcoin that was in that video. And if you had purchased literally on Monday one of the stocks mentioned and put those into a significant portfolio for a family member, you might think that these coincidences are starting to add up. But if you put it all together, you're able to understand who these people are, what they're talking about, the intricacies of the details, the inside jokes. You start to think that maybe there's something of a coincidence in all of the things that you've listened to in your entire life. And to me, that those sorts of coincidences are pretty remarkable. And there's one that goes one step further than all of this, and that is the fact that when you go through a significant life-altering scenario in your life, when you come out on the other side, you have a perspective on things that you couldn't possibly have fathomed. And one of those things is continuous improvement. And you find that you're sleeping only a few hours a night and waking up and constantly need to be surrounded by information. Maybe the coincidences that have added up and became all necessary inputs to one particular video that drew them all together, lassoed them all together. Maybe the coincidences individually and collectively mean less than the coincidence that is that you spent your life over the last 5 years dedicating yourself to continuous improvement when it came to wealth management, understanding finances, understanding your health, your wellness, nutrition, vitamins, diet, etc. And that at one moment, a video could be a catalyst to remind you that maybe you live in a simulation. I don't know how else to describe it. Oh, and Berkshire Hathaway.